Hello, welcome to Local Matters, which is back in a new way to feature the resources and resilience of our South Shore towns. While we're all on a mission to save lives by keeping a safe physical distance from each other, our emotional, human connection is more important than ever. We'll use this space over the next several weeks to share some of the good works and good news happening around us because there is so much of it. I'm Elizabeth. Let's get started. The town of Plymouth now has its own Poet Laureate, a 2-year position awarded to Plymouth native Stephen Delbos. The role of the Plymouth Poet Laureate is, of course, to write poetry about Plymouth's history and culture, but also to engage the community to write as well. April is National Poetry Month, and Stephen sent us this message for you.
Hi everyone, this is Stephen Delbos, Plymouth's Poet Laureate. It's an honor and a privilege to take up this position, and I'm really excited to get the chance to unite and inspire the community through poetry. One of my first projects is the Plymouth Poetry Contest. Throughout the month of April, which is National Poetry Month, I'm taking submissions of any and all poems about Plymouth. This contest is open to local and national poets, young and old, so if you're a parent, please do encourage your children to send me some poems, and you can email them to me at plymouthpoetlaureate@gmail.com. I'm looking for any kind of poem that engages with the town and its history and its people in any kind of interesting way. So don't be shy, don't hesitate, please do send me some poems at plymouthpoetlaureate@gmail.com. The winning poem will be beautifully hand-printed in a limited edition broadsheet by Inky Hands Print Shop and Gallery on Court Street. And when things get back to normal, we'll have a reading and a reception there where the winning poet will get to read their work as well as the runners-up, and the winning poet will receive this printed broadsheet, which will also be available as a limited edition for sale. So I'm really excited about this contest, and I hope you'll help me spread the word, and I really look forward to reading all of your poems. I hope you also check out the Facebook page, the Plymouth Poetry Forum. This is where I'll be posting updates about programs and events connected to the Plymouth Poet Laureate, and we've got a lot of really interesting things coming up throughout the spring and the summer and beyond. For example, I'm now collaborating with the Poet Laureate of Plymouth, England, on an ongoing poem that we'll be publishing online. So please check out the Plymouth Poetry Forum on Facebook and email me Plymouth poems at plymouthpoetlaureate@gmail.com. Thank you.
Especially now, it's easy to feel battered by loss, grief, and isolation, but we are resilient. We always pick up the pieces and find a way together to go forward. This week marks the 7th anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings, and we sat down with local artist Franklin Marvel, who spoke about how the tragic events of 2013 motivated him to find a way to make a positive difference. Franklin Marvel is a local artist, graphic designer, and social activist. A native of São Tomé, Venezuela, his exuberant art is informed and inspired by both his homeland and his community here in Massachusetts. Franklin has started a movement with a message and spoke to the local scene about how the tragedy of the Boston bombing motivated him to use his art to create a message of hope.
The More Life is Okay movement. It sounds like something. So, I mean, like, everything started a few years ago, and after the Boston bombing, and a year after of that tragedy, I went with my whole family, and they closed the finish line so you can walk. And when I was walking through the street, I was like, we were feeling that, I would say, sadness, and we will revive everything. I mean, during that moment, and I was like, wow, it feels really bad. And while we were walking, we were like, okay, I mean, we knew that this is not a good thing, and we were thinking on the positive side. So what can we do to make it better? What can we do to avoid this to happen again, right? And I was like, this is not okay. And crime is not okay, violence is not okay. And I was like, more love is okay. More hearts are okay. And everything started from there. And in that moment, I went to my studio at night, and I was like, you know what, I wanna do something for the city. And then I took one of my paintings. I paint hearts, and I was, you know what, I wanna make something. I wanna put it on somewhere. And then I went to Newbury Street. There is at the end of the Newbury Street, there is a wall that everybody, posts, like posters, events, and a lot of things. And I was, you know what, I'm gonna put a heart that it was framed on a gold frame, and to make it, like, to preserve it. When you love something and you care for somebody or for something, you preserve it, you take care of it. And I went and I put one of my gold frames. I took a photograph of the gold frame, and then a painting. I put it together, and I created a sticker, and I put it on one of the doors there, and I stayed there for 2 years without saying anything. It was there. It was my signature, but it was there. And the city, every few months, they go and clean the whole wall, but the heart was there. They repaint everything around, but the heart was there. I was like, wow. That's the way you see that it gives you a feedback right away. That more hearts, more love, more kindness, more positive things are good. And there is a heart. It's not just a heart. It's a heart. It goes around twice to make sure that everybody's incorporated. It's that simple. It represents community. That's why you see those two circles around. But it basically goes like this. It goes around 1, 2, and then close. And by doing that, we are incorporating everybody. It's a heart that is inclusive. Right now, I'm working with one of the middle school in Weymouth, and we are creating a painting, and it's being painted by a total of, I would say, 150 students. So every student stops at the painting for maybe 5 or 7 minutes, and they paint something. And so far, we are in the 50% of the process. Tomorrow, we're going to finish it. So, and then you see there is not just our students; it's everybody painting. All the students. Doesn't matter if you like painting or not. You are doing something. You are giving something, and you are being part of this. And the school is going to preserve the painting. And it gives you a lot. So even for the students, they're going to feel that they belong there.
Franklin's commitment to using art to build community and raise social consciousness travels across continents, from collaborative projects in Massachusetts to his native Venezuela, a country which has endured great suffering.
What was first is the question. Me being an artist or being socially conscious? I will say that I was an artist, and that I was exposed to a lot of situations and cities and people. San Tomé, Valle de la Pascua, Caracas, Puerto La Cruz, and then we moved to the United States, and we went to Miami for 7 years, and then we came here to Massachusetts. And sad, but because we are away from Venezuela and everything related with going out of your place. But like I say, I have to look for the positive. And being still connected with Venezuela, and the bad situation in Venezuela is bad because of the government. And I always am an activist. I have to speak. If you want me to tell you exactly what is happening in Venezuela, I'm gonna say it. At first, I was afraid to mention something, but we have to speak up. We have to speak up, and that's why I have this heart that is say Venezuela libre, freedom for Venezuela. And like I say, by thinking positively, Venezuela is in a bad situation, But I went to Venezuela a year and a half, something like that, 2 years ago. And I saw it. And I was, okay, what are the things that I can do to make this better? I know this bad. I know it's bad. So I need to do something. And then I was talking with my sister, and I was like, my sister worked with kids in Venezuela. I was like, let's bring our classes to kids in Venezuela. Kids that doesn't have any type of resources. And I have one of the posters that I use. I went to Venezuela and I created a workshop for them for 3 days. It was amazing. So as soon as we finished the workshop, we were like, okay, how can we make this to continue? And it was hard to get the money to do that. But we did it. We brought classes for 7 months. Our classes for 50 kids. Unbelievable. They were going to bed on Friday night, dreaming about Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon for the classes. They were like amazing. So I'm working on it to bring it this year too.
At the root of Franklin's artistic expression is always the heart, his own, the one he puts on canvas, or the heartfelt spirit animating his subject.
When I see an instrument that is a heart, I see a heart in there. And the heart is the people playing the instrument and the people that made the instrument. The heart has it's gonna be hard to pronounce this, ventricles. And I have a sketch of a heart where I play with the 4 parts. I use the fingers because the cuatro, it means that we have 4 strings. We as an artist, we try things. And because I've been experimenting the music in my head now, I was like motivated to try something, trying to paint live while somebody's playing. There is something around that is beautiful, and only you can find that when you perform live. And I like it. If there is anybody out there that wants to paint live, just reach out, and if there is a stage, we'll do it.
Franklin says the goal of More Love is Okay is for people to read a simple, positive message with the hope of creating a more loving future. To contact Franklin or learn more about where to see his work, visit franklinmarvel.com. On Easter Sunday, a giant bunny was reportedly seen parading throughout the neighborhoods of Plymouth, surrounded by an entourage and brightening the day of excited children and adults. It is rumored this happy symbol of the holiday had help from the Plymouth Police Department and the Plymouth Police Relief Association, and in particular, Officer Alex South. Easter may have been a little different this year, but even with social distancing, there was still room for fun. Susan Gedutis Lindsay is a musician, writer, and editor who currently works as an elementary instrumental music teacher at 3 district schools in Plymouth. She spoke with Julie Thompson via Zoom about the importance of continuing music and practice, especially in times like these.
I am so excited to be talking to Susan Lindsay, who's a musician extraordinaire. You're doing some pretty unusual things here during this very strange time we're living in. So you want to talk about that? Tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm a public school teacher. I teach instrumental music. So I teach, flute, clarinet, saxophone, trombone, trumpet. And now we're stuck at home, right? So my job now is to figure out how to keep these kids playing. So I'm continuing to teach music, but the goal is to find a way to get those kids to not quit and stay on their instruments and keep learning.
Yeah, especially during now. So
Yeah.
Before we get into exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it, tell me a little bit about your background.
I've been a musician my whole life. I started in Plymouth at Nathaniel Morton. I started playing saxophone then. And, I studied music in college, and I went on to work in various kind of public information, PR type jobs. And at some point I decided, I really want to be doing much more music. So I went back to college for my master's. And I studied ethnomusicology, which was really about music and culture. Not long after I finished that study, I ended up working at Berkeley, and I was there for about 16 years at Berkeley before I quit, essentially, and came back because I wanted to teach and be in my own town, kind of giving back. When you're at Berkeley, you're preaching to the converted.
Yeah.
Right. And I really felt like if you wanted to save souls and sort of bring music to everyone, you need to start at the beginning.
Right.
So I changed over to teaching music in 2016.
Wow. Okay. And you do it, you said at the high school level?
No, elementary.
Elementary
I have
level.
9 and
Okay.
10-year-olds. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
the fun
Yeah.
group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what is the main motivation for what you're doing right now? And then we'll go into all these things that you're doing, and they're really cool.
Well, what I'm trying to do with the kids at home is to really get them to have fun with their music. So it's not about like continuing the study, it's really about helping them to, keep on playing, keep on having fun, keep exploring their instruments at home, and use that as something that they can do to pass the time that's enjoyable and not high pressure. So that's really like the underlying goal of everything I'm doing is, how can you bring joy into your family by playing music?
Right. Right. So let's talk about the different videos that you're putting together and that you're putting out there for parents of all students anywhere to enjoy and to help their kids with their music lessons.
Well, when we first were told that school is no longer for a while, we didn't have any specific direction from the state. So our goal at that point was just to keep motivating the kids. So those first 6 musical challenge videos I created were really just about trying to reach them and give them music that they want to learn. When we're in the classroom, they're learning specific exercises and books, but they all really want to learn how to play Jaws, and they really want to learn how to play Happy Birthday, and they love the songs they hear on the radio. So that seemed to me to be the biggest motivator, is giving them the stuff that they really want to play as a way to keep them engaged while they're home.
Yeah. Now, I know the schools have come out with different criteria for the parents to do for homeschooling. Do they include the arts and the music in that, or do they leave those out?
They do. What happens every week is, if you're a parent, you get this Google Doc that's like a table, a chart, and it has every one of your subjects and every day what you're supposed to be doing. So it has the math and the reading and the writing. And as you scroll down, that's where all your specialists are. So there's an activity in gym every week. There's an activity in art. There's the classroom music. In 4th and 5th grade, they're also studying instruments. So there's a line at the bottom for what you're supposed to be doing to continue your studies. You click your little link, it brings you to my online classroom, and that's where we give you your assignment for the week, which so far all we've done is say, work on something, pick whatever you like, and send us a video.
So is this working under the assumption that all kids have some kind of instrument at their hands?
Well, I have a subset of the kids, because the instrumental music is a voluntary program. So, I teach at 3 schools, and I have about 150 students who are learning, again, flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, and percussion. I think I didn't leave anybody out. And those kids chose to play.
Okay.
So I'm working with a subset. So like, for example, at Nathaniel Morton, which is right down the street from me, almost every single kid signed up for an instrument. Other schools have different levels of participation.
I remember when I was in elementary school, everybody had to learn the recorder, and we all got one. Did the kids have their recorders that they can play at home? They do.
They do. Well, that was actually a 3rd grade. That's what you do in 3rd grade across our curriculum. And I start with the kids at 4th and 5th grade. So theoretically, at that point, they would have learned how to play a wind instrument, which is the recorder. And at a lot of schools, they've also learned the ukulele. So it's amazing. Amazing.
Right.
So when they hit 4th grade, then they have that choice of taking another instrument. Now, some kids rent the instruments, and then as a department, we have, I don't know, a couple hundred instruments that have been donated to the schools that for students who demonstrate need, who want to play an instrument but maybe don't have the means to pay for renting or buying an instrument. They can borrow one from us and as well. So it's really levels the playing field.
That's wonderful. Now, is there any way that you can get the kids to play together, like on a Zoom or a platform like this?
That is tricky because it turns out that there's a delay in Zoom.
right.
So you cannot, I mean, everybody's tried, but you cannot get it to be exactly in time. We're still trying to figure it out. But I think the best bet in that situation, and we're going to try to work it out, where you play a duet with a friend and you play along with they send you a video, you play along with the video while you're making a video of yourself. And then you've got your duet there. But doing it live, right now the technology just doesn't exist to do it like literally right on exactly the same time.
Yeah. Well, good thought anyway. How is this being received by parents? They must be so grateful to you.
There's a mix. The kids who are already motivated and who love music the most, those kids they were right in there right away, posting videos. As soon as they knew there was a Facebook, they were up there. There are other parents who were just really overwhelmed. I had a story, a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden now school's going to be mandatory, right? We started that last week. I sent out a message, and my first sentence was like, now it's required, and you have to do this, and then I went on with all the ways you can link in and what you can do.
Yep.
And almost immediately I got a message from a parent that said, you know what, I can't deal with it. I'm working full time. I'm managing a doctor's office.
Yeah.
He's home by himself all day. How do I turn the instrument in?
Yeah.
And it really kind of broke my heart. I went out and I was in the yard doing some yard work, and I thought about her, and I thought, you know what? She doesn't need to hear required. She needs to hear fun and love and caring and compassion.
Right.
So I sent a message back then to all the same parents, and I said, you know something? This is a really hard time. This is impossible. Just do what you can do. As long as you do something, I'm so happy, and a house with music is a happier house. So do whatever you can do. I've never had so many responses to my emails in the entire time I've taught, because people are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It is so hard to teach your own kids.
Right.
And so especially for parents who didn't sign up for this. There's lots of parents who chose to homeschool. We know one of those. She's standing right near you somewhere.
Yes, Elizabeth.
But for the parents who didn't choose that, it's so overwhelming. And it's so hard. And so they need to know that, that the teachers care, and that we get it.
Right. And music is it's not like math or reading where everybody would have done that in school. It's, either you were interested in music or you weren't, or you have an acumen for it or you don't. So I understand why it must be very frustrating to some parents, but it also must be very soothing to the students who love music.
Well, I think so, and I think there's something about playing music and singing. You're breathing deeply, and you're exhaling in a deliberate way. That's so good for you and your whole body, and for your mind and your soul. And so there's this piece of playing music that, if they can keep doing that at home, it has to have an effect somewhere.
Yeah, and there's something about the rhythm of music that's very, very, very calming, which is really nice. Now talk about writing. Do you write music? I mean, what is that?
Well, my other thing I do is actual writing, like words.
Writing. Yep.
Writing. Not writing music. I wrote a book I guess it was 10 years ago now, but it was a cultural study of Irish music in Boston. And what that book was really about was about how music helped new immigrants find their place and establish their place in this new country. So this study of what music means to culture, I'm living it now, but I've always been interested in it. So that book came out in 2004.
Yep.
And not long afterwards, it was motherhood, and it was a full-time job. And so, I was working as an editor for a long time, a book editor. I used to write for the Boston Irish Reporter. I did Irish music coverage, and some freelance articles for the Ledger and a few papers here and there. But you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Even though I want to.
Yeah. Well, I know another thing you do is your whole family is very, very into music, the Lindsays, and we've featured you a number of times here at PAC TV. Talk about that and that influence on you.
That's, in a way, it's everything for us. It's my husband and I met through music. He's from Ireland, and one of the things about Irish music that appealed to me so much right from the beginning was the way that music is just a part of life. It's not on a stage, it's not far away from you, it's not done by a star. it's done by everybody.
Right.
Like it's music, that's a place where, you know, everybody can sing and nobody says, oh, you don't have a very good voice.
Right.
I might say that, but most people don't. You know, if you have a song that you know, people ask you for it, whether your voice is beautiful or whether it isn't.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of, you know, experiencing that musical culture in Ireland is what really was super formative for me in my entire philosophy about music and how I teach it and the way I talk to the children, the way I encourage them. You know, I don't know that there's any bad sound. I mean, there is a bad sound, but I mean, any sound that you utter from your heart can't be a bad sound.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
What advice would you give to parents right now, and to students, if you had to give them, you know, one sentence of what they can do with music during this really odd time in our lives?
I would encourage people to just make music and make it freely without judging themselves, and never say, oh, that wasn't very good, or, you know, just let yourself make music. And particularly for parents who have kids at home who don't want to practice, guess what? Even musicians don't always want to practice. So, you know, it's just like exercise. You know, we all know we should do it.
Yep.
Some of us do really well at it, and some of us think about it. Yeah. And so you have to kind of, you know, you just have to start. And I never wanted to practice, and you know, my dad loved to tell that story about how I would never want to practice, and he would make me do it, and I would get mad, and I'd stomp up the stairs, and next thing I'd come down, like, you know, I don't know, 2 hours later, because I'd been playing for 2 hours. So, you know, I think the key is just to start and to set the bar very low and be very realistic. You know, just play for 5 minutes.
Right.
Just take a few long breaths into your instrument, play the longest notes you can play, and if you feel after that you don't want to do it, okay, fine, put it away, do something else.
Yep. Pick it up the next day.
But just anything is good thing.
Now, how
that's good English, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Now, do you do anything with singing too? Do you? I mean, this because singing is such a big part of music, also.
My husband's a singer, and it took me a lot of years of us playing together for me to start venturing toward the microphone to do harmonies.
Yep.
And you know, so that idea of people judging themselves musically is a personal journey for me. You know, it took me a long time to be able to sing into a microphone and to not think I sounded horrible. And it took me a lot of like fishing for compliments from people I trust, like, is that really okay? Was I in tune? Was that all right? And it took me a lot of time to get sort of the vote of people I trusted before I really let myself sing. So now I mostly sing harmonies, and I have a couple of songs that I sing by myself, but mostly I'm the backup singer.
Very good. Well, I've heard you, and you're excellent. You're absolutely excellent. So
not as good as my husband, but you know.
Well, yeah, he's pretty good too. So how can people see some of these videos? Do you have a website that they go to, or how are they distributed?
Well, there's there's my Facebook, which my YouTube channel is really the most public one. So if you look up Susan Lindsay on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of Susan Lindsay, so you've got to find the right one. I'm the one who has a flute and a saxophone sitting on a chair on a cliff. Yeah.
Giving it away.
Yeah. So that's the best place to look.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these videos right now are free to anyone? That anyone can watch them, look at them, learn from them.
Yeah, they're free to anyone, and you can also follow Mrs. Lindsay Band Room on Facebook. I think that's probably the best way. Mrs. Lindsay Band Room on Facebook, or Mrs. Lindsay's Music on Instagram. I'm posting, as I create new videos, we're posting them there.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, I don't know what to say, Susan Lindsay, besides spreading music, and the word of music is just wonderful right now. We all need it. And I'm sure you are making a lot of parents happy that you're doing this, because a lot of kids get a lot of joy out of music. So I'd like to thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure we will talk to you again.
All right, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There is an abundance of goodwill coming from our local area businesses. SERVPRO of Plymouth, Wareham, for instance, has been donating their time and disinfecting services to fire, police, and EMS facilities in the local area. The Onset Fire Department, Wareham Police Department, and Wareham EMS are just some of the many first responder facilities the company has assisted.
Hi everyone, I'm Jen, the General Manager here at SERVPRO of Plymouth, Wareham.
And I'm Jessica, the Executive Account Manager. Here at SERVPRO of Plymouth, Wareham, we are a cleanup and restoration company, and normally we focus on fire and water damage and mold remediation. However, since the COVID-19 outbreak, our services have shifted more to disinfection work.
A few weeks back, we received a call from the Onset Fire Station for our disinfecting services. Initially, we were going to provide them with a quote, but we said, hey, this would be a great opportunity to give back to our local first responders by donating our disinfecting services to them. We started out just by offering these services to the local fire stations, but have extended it to police stations and EMT locations as well.
First responders can't control who they come in contact with, so we feel as though we are truly helping to keep them safe and healthy. With our first responders being on the front lines, we feel it's extremely important that they have sanitary quarters to come back to.
The response from the firefighters, policemen, and EMTs have been super positive. They are so grateful and appreciative, often giving us shout outs on their social media pages or sending us a very kind email.
Our team are true rock stars and have been working around the clock to provide disinfecting services, and we will continue to do so until this pandemic subsides.
We hope everyone is staying safe and healthy out there by washing their hands, keeping a safe distance from one another, as well as staying educated. We will get through this together. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
If you are a police, fire, or EMT department in need of complimentary professional disinfecting services, reach out to SERVPRO at 508-746-9500. And thank you for all that you do. You've already received an invitation to respond to a short questionnaire for the United States Census. Have you filled it out yet? The data from the U.S. Census determines the distribution of $675 billion in federal funds, grants, and community support. For the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, $16 billion is at stake. That's $2,372 per person. That's money spent on hospitals, schools, roads, police and fire departments, veteran services, and other important programs. The census also plays a big part in elections. It calculates the number of seats each state holds in the House of Representatives. Every 4 years, the winner of the Electoral College becomes or stays our president, and the number of states' votes in the Electoral College is determined by, you guessed it, the National Census. The Census Bureau can only use your information for statistics. In fact, every Census Bureau employee takes an oath to protect your personal information for life. There are 3 ways to take part: online, by mail, or telephone. Census results affect your community every day. You count, so make sure you're counted. Food pantries are being utilized now more than ever, driving the need for donations. West Plymouth residents organized a neighborhood food drive, enlisting Chickie Celli and her bus to help.
I'm Tricia Burke, and I live in the West Plymouth neighborhood. And a friend of mine had texted me saying that she saw something online about giving back to the community. And we thought what a great idea it would be. And so we reached out to all of our neighbors, and what a great response we got from them.
My name is Chickie Celli. This is my daughter Emily. We own Clay Chicken Plymouth. We're a local business that we love to try to do whatever we can to help out our neighborhoods that are hit during a hard time right now. I have a big bus not being used. I figured, why don't we go out on Good Friday and fill it up with some food for the South Shore Community Action Council.
I think families are definitely struggling as far as getting food and other things and items that they might need. So this food drive was definitely in a need for the town.
Right now there's a lot of parents out of work, a lot of people struggling to make their bills, and we're just happy to be able to do some small thing to help out.
I work for the Plymouth Public Schools, and I can see the need within our schools, and I know all the donations that they're making and all the volunteers they need. So seeing like this, as far as our neighborhood can go and we can get in on the donations, I just thought it was a great idea.
So we've done about 20 neighborhoods, and we spent some time parked in some locations today, like the Village Landing Marketplace and the market at Pine Hills. So we've been able to collect so far about 150 bags of food, I think. So a lot of need out there. The food pantry's getting hit every day, and we're happy to be able to get it where it needs to go.
The neighborhood with the most food, she's actually going to have a party for the bus for free for the people that participated. You know, in a time like this, it just felt really good to do something for the people out there that need it.
During this time, it's definitely nice to know that all of your neighbors care and we're all in it together and all in it to help each other out.
I just would like to say thank you to our community, Plymouth Strong. We always look out for each other, and I'm really grateful to just be the vehicle to just help get the needs met. If it wasn't for everybody else participating, there's no way that I would be doing anything either. So just thank you for our community for being so considerate to others.
Unfortunately, even in a global pandemic, staying home is not the safest place for everyone. Increased tensions and restrictions because of COVID-19 are increasing the vulnerability for people living in abusive households. But there is help. SafeLink is a statewide domestic violence hotline that will help you, offer support, connect you with resources, and respect your decisions. SafeLink is free and confidential. Call 1-877-785-2020. And no, you are not alone. 6 Old Colony YMCA sites, including Plymouth, were chosen by the Department of Early Education and Care to provide exempt emergency childcare programs.
Hello, my name is Christina Wilson. I'm the Associate Executive Director for the Old Colony YMCA here in Plymouth. We are honored to be offering emergency childcare for our first responders and essential workers in our community. It is a privilege to be able to provide this service to the children of healthcare professionals and essential workers who are on the front lines putting themselves in harm's way every day. So while they are taking care of us, the least we can do is take care of their children. In order to ensure the safety of the children and staff, we are following all guidelines set by CDC, EEC, and the Department of Public Health. Some of these measures include having children dropped off at the front door and eliminating the amount of people entering the building, routine hand washing and use of hand sanitizer, spreading children out amongst all rooms of the child care building, and utilizing space in our facility to ensure social distancing. We are also disinfecting throughout the day and deep cleaning all areas at the end of each day with a special room disinfecting fogging machine. If you or someone you know is in need of emergency childcare and meets the qualifications set by the Department of Early Child Education and Care, EEC, please have them call us directly to inquire on space availability and information on how to obtain a registration form. Our phone number is 508-927-3100. All agencies approved for emergency care are also listed on the EEC website. As the world is changing, not only on a daily basis, but a minute-by-minute basis, the Y is doing our best to adapt to the needs of our community. We are keeping in touch with local and state officials to stay on top of the latest recommendations. Even though the doors to our gym are closed, the Y has mobilized outside our walls to serve the community in any way we can. We are collecting donations for our community drive. Anyone that is able to donate non-perishable food and other essential items can drop off their donations outside our childcare doors at our Redbrook location, 2 Greenside Way South here in Plymouth, between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Please visit our website, www.oldcolonyymca.org, for more information. Stay safe and stay healthy.
In addition to supporting support during the crisis, when the Y is able to reopen, they are offering healthcare workers and first responders and their families 2 free months of membership. To learn more, visit oldcolonymca.org/together. Calling all musicians, poets, storytellers, and puppeteers. Socially Distant Fest is a virtual stage on Facebook where you can share your talents with the world live. Operated by Stay Home Productions, this space was created to help flatten the curve, bring entertainment to those who are isolated, and provide a way for entertainers to reach their audience. Performers of all disciplines are welcome to share your talents, and we received permissions from a few to share with you today.
Ooh, see my feet on my only carriage, so I've got to push on through, but when I'm gonna be there, everything's gonna be alright. 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 Say, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I, oh, I.
Gotta make it say, ladies, let me hear you say it. Come on. Gotta make it say, ladies, let me hear you say it. Come on. I wanna make it say, just say that. Girl, I know, yeah, that you want it. Yeah, making love all night. Hey, come on, until the morning light. Yeah. Let me touch your body. Oh, baby. Now you touch mine. Yeah. I'll make you holler. Hey, oh yeah. All through the night. Yeah. And make say,
Forget you for not giving me no time of day. Yeah. Forget you for not giving me no time of day. Forget you for not giving me no time of day.
Come on, every guy, grab a girl, everywhere around the world, and we're dancing, dancing in the streets, dancing in the streets. Everybody be dancing. Let's have a dance party.
Give me a word or give me a sign. Show me where to look or tell me what will I find. Will I find? Let me on the ground or fly me in the sky. Show me where to look or tell me what will I find.
Always getting fucked up. Yeah, Boston prison show up. Hey, never getting older. Yeah, suicide trip, I'm frozen. You can find me on my veins like a hurricane. Pure cocaine, fake friends. You can find me on my veins like a hurricane. Pure cocaine, fake friends. Yeah.
So good. Socially Distant Fest has a showcase every Sunday. If you're interested in participating, email howdy@sociallydistantfest.com. Local Matters is a production of the local scene of PAC TV. To find a complete list of resources mentioned in this show, visit our website at pactv.org/localscene. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook to keep updated on new stories and the ways that we shine a light on you. Now, more than ever, we need each other. PAC TV is here for you. Stay safe.
Ooh.